Welcome back to the Toltec Pickups channel at Laverack Guitars here in the UK, and today in the lab we have got an overview of this first look of this brand new handmade John Shuker bass made for my good friend and co-worker McKeegan, who is the bass player from Therapy, the alt-punk #1 chart selling rockers. This is a design that he wanted for himself based on the traditional P-bass shape, a little different here and there with the P-bass pickups hand wound. It has a roasted maple neck with block ebony inlays. The side dot markers are like the Illuminous glow-in-the-dark Luminlay, I think is the company that makes those, for a bit of a dark stage visuals so you can see. It is this nice nitro black. It's got the custom shape pickguard. It's just a little different to the P-bass, a nice little bit of sharp edge on there. It has this cute little one volume, no tone volume knob with the Shuker logo design etched in there. It's a matte black as well, smooth barrel, very nice touch. Black screws in there making it all look very dark and evil priesty. The bridge I think might be a hip shot, don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure. I think it might be a hip shot. The tuners are a elephant ear style matte black. These are hip shot, so I think the bridge will be. And it has the drop tuner on the E, let's say, which is, this is tuned down a whole step to D standard. So that'll D, and then that'll drop tune down when you flick that switch to a C. That's hip shot. It's signed on the back, hand signed by Mr. John Shuker, dated 01/23, so January 23, and it also has a stamp, which is a hand hammered stamp in there, which says MM, which will be Michael McKeegan, 00123. So the first design, January 2023. Lovely matte finish on this neck as well, and lovely figuring in the maple and what you'd call, it's like the tiger striping, I suppose you would say, or what we might call the flex in the wood of the tree, of course. The anchor bolt on 4-piece 4 bolts, let's say, sorry, is just the 4 screws and ferrules without the anchor plate, and it's got a nice little chamfer rounded off at the back, so you can see there's a, we'll hold it upside down, I'm sure you'll be able to see that nice little fall away there with the rounded heel contour. That's it. Lovely bit of equipment. Brass nut and a nice string retainer in there for 3 strings, the D, A, D and G strings, rather than just having the one round button string tree. We get that A string retained down there, because I'm sure if I haven't whinged about that yet on a video, I will do at some point, that this A string on these style basses, I think it was on this video about stringing a bass, that should pop up, give that a watch. The break angle at this nut, from the nut to the tuning post, can be quite shallow if you don't get enough wraps on there, and it can cause this horrible rattling at the nut area. Even if it is cut in nice, it's the downward pressure of the string in the slot, which causes it to buzz a little. You can see hopefully there we've got the Shuker logo, and at the end near the G string pause we've got Michael's signature, which he will have signed and sent that off, I guess, in some sort of format online, and that's been printed off. Flat white on there and then sprayed over. Black matching headstock face to match the rest. These are passive P-bass pickups wound by my good friend Ozzy, who does things for John. He also cuts some flat work for me as well, and laser cuts some custom Toltec flat work with the Toltec logo engraved on the back of the pickup work. So when you take the pickup out, you will see our Toltec brand in there. Ozzy does that for me currently. UK based. I think it's over somewhere between Sheffield and Manchester in the UK. I think it's out in a quaint little place. I'm not quite sure 100% of the location of the workshop, but it's out there somewhere, kind of South Yorkshire heading into Lancashire area. You can find that online. John Shuker is small operation. He also has custom cases that get made as well with the logo in, like the Hiscox style case with his logo branded in, and a nice little package that comes together when you buy a custom bass from him. I've just brought this to the workshop, as I've waffled on before in many other videos, showcasing Andy from Therapy's guitars that I've had through to service. I am one of the current guitar backline techs for the band Therapy, so we go out on tour, and I've just got this. We haven't played live with this bass just yet. It's going to get its debut outing on this tour that is coming up now in October, November 2023. We're doing an Irish 3-day runs of Ireland, and then we go over to Europe for a week or two. I think it might be 2 weeks over in Europe then. And this, because it's been festival season pretty much this year, and the album in stores for the new release and promotion of the album, we didn't really have time to sort of test this in a live situation in like a long sound check to get a feel for it and dial the amp in if needed. So it's not had an outing yet, but because we've got that coming up, that's where it's going to get debuted on this run. So I have just brought it back to my workshop this week, and I'm giving it just a little final tweak to Michael's desired spec so that he didn't really get... I think he'd been over to the workshop when John was making this to try the neck profile out and then make adjustments here and there, whether it was raw form. But the final setup to D standard, I've just brought it to do here. And I've just also put a little shim in the neck pocket there, so we can just raise these bridge saddles a little bit more to get a bit more pressure on the saddle. It's a dual load bridge, which means that you can attach the string just through a little section here, or if you were inclined when you build the bass, you can drill through the body with some ferrules in the back and you string through. So the string comes through the back of the bass body, out there through the hole in the bridge chassis, and then on to the saddle. This one is what you would call top loading. the holes have not been drilled in the bass for a through body stringing. This bridge will accommodate both those, so that could be done at a later date to this bass if so desired. My personal preference is I like the through body stringing option. It just feels a little bit, you get the break angle right from the chassis of the bridge to the saddle of the string right over there. Feels like it's a bit more firm and secure personally. You get a little bit because the string anchor point is coming through and it's making contact with the ferrule and the bass body itself. It feels maybe it's a placebo effect, but if the placebo effect gets the desired result, then it's kind of worked, right? And it's working, you know? But it has this, it just feels a little more solid and almost potentially a little more resonant. That's debatable. Maybe if you put things on a spectrum analyzer, let's say, of top loading and through body stringing with all other parameters exactly the same, that'd be interesting to see. You may see something there, positive or negative, but here it is. I don't actually have a bass amp to run this through. I've just got my old trusty Philipson XL10P 10-inch speaker just for testing audio to make sure things are working, not so much for a real colour of sound, if that's a thing. That's with the fingers. Michael is in fact I've got one of his guitar picks here. He uses the large triangular Dunlop style, the big triangle, and I think there might be like a 1mm. Again, the one volume, not faffing about with any tone or anything like that, because it's just pure hard, heavy, evil priest punk rock is Michael. So we get a nice dirty sound from his rig using a Tech 21 Sansamp DI pedal as well. I can't remember which model it is, but it's not the little black box style. It's like the dual switching. It's like almost like a mint green. Someday I'll be able to figure that out. I could possibly do a rig rundown while we're on the road on this next tour coming up, and just show you the ins and outs of that. I'm sure Michael would be agreeable to that. Potentially I may even be able to get him on camera to discuss a little about his setup and his preferences. We'll see. That's something that I will see if I can try and do for you all, should you be that way inclined. The shape of the headstock cut is not like the traditional P-bass style. It's almost it's almost a bit Music Man. It's almost a bit like that, right? Is it? Possibly so. But there we go. I don't think it's got a particular name or model number. He hasn't christened it in any sort of way. But there it is. It's the signature Michael McKeegan, John Shuker bass. And that, as we say, what do we say? It's fucking easy, innit? Nice.